My name is Pascal. Today we will be going through a buy guide for the Rogue Monster Lite 690C rack. And in total, I would say you are better off with a 4-post rack from Rogue, maybe the Monster Lite series or maybe the Monster series, but stay away from the 6-post racks, especially for a home gym use. For a commercial gym use, you might want to do it. And the big question you have to ask yourself when you are considering these is, what are you gonna do with the space in the back? Now, most people will be tending towards get the biggest thing that you can possibly get and then realize that actually the back of the 6-post rack will not be used as much. And if you only want to use it for storage, that's probably one of the most expensive storage solutions you could get for your home gym. So that is why I'm saying I wouldn't recommend a 6-post rack for a home gym. Go with the 4-post, and then what you save, spend that on upgrades on plates, landmines, pull-up bars, and all of the other nice stuff that you can hang onto the rack. As I have mentioned, space is one of the main drivers of whether to get a 6 or a 4-post rack. Here you can see me in the frame of a Rogue RM4 rack. If you want more impressions of how I'm moving in this rack, then please refer to my training for the Jersey playlist, where you see all of my training. But basically, I'm 185 centimeters tall, I weigh 100 kg, so I'm a rather big person, I'd say. I'm not a super heavyweight, but I'm definitely a heavyweight in terms of powerlifting or boxing terms. And as you can see in this frame here, I have plenty of space in the Rogue RM4, even though I am storing my plates on the rack themselves. I rarely, if ever, touch off of the plates that are stored at the back uprights here. So that is why I'm discouraging most people from getting a 6-post rack, because you just have more than enough space in the 4-post rack, full rack versions. So if you are looking into the RML 690C, then maybe consider the RM4 or the RML 490/490C as an alternative, and store the plates just in the back uprights rather than getting the back extension, which is really just that space. And I'm not the only YouTube channel sharing that opinion. The next thing to talk about the 690C is the uprights and the differences between Rogue Monster and Monster Lite. Now, since the upgrade of the Rogue Monster Lite series, the 2.0 and the 3.0 upgrades, which are available over in the US, they're not available internationally, but in the US they are. They've actually closed the gap between the Rogue Monster series and the Rogue Monster Lite series. So you will have numbering now on the Rogue Monster Lite series on the uprights, which you see here, which you didn't used to have on the Rogue Monster. And you will also have west side spacing on the Rogue Monster Lite series. So technically you're getting way more value for money out of the Monster Lite series and out of the Monster series when you just plainly look at the uprights. You also, when you go for the 690C, have color options. Now, the 2 color options that you wouldn't have access to compared to Monster are ceratite and stainless steel. I personally think they're superfluous anyway, so you know, why even bother with those? But what I will say about the Monster Lite series that is a disadvantage compared to Monster is that Rogue is really spending a lot more engineering time and forward-thinking time in product development on the Monster series than the Monster Lite series. So new inventions will be always made available first for Monster, and if they are successful in the Monster series as an upsell, then they will trickle down to Monster Lite. But chances are, if it doesn't work, it won't trickle down to Monster Lite. So be aware of that when you're buying, that the Monster series is probably a bit more future-proof than the Monster Lite series. Now again, the Monster Lite series is still better than the Echo or Infinity series, because I think the Echo or Infinity series, there is really not at all spend a lot of attention in that forward thinking. They still have those production lines in place, but they're not modernizing those production lines to the same extent, because you can see that reflected in any facelifts that the website is also getting. All of the facelifts that have been done recently at Rogue were only tailored towards ordering Monster Lite and Monster and the Rogue Echo and Infinity kind of landing pages, and where you configure your rack have been left untouched. The last thing that is a big difference between Monster Lite and Monster are the nuts and bolts. So on the Monster series you will have bigger nuts and bolts, and on the Monster Lite series you have slightly smaller nuts and bolts. Now the smaller nuts and bolts will most likely also make it more compatible with equipment you might already have for a commercial buy. And the bigger bolts for the Monster series are usually better for actually having very, very big other attachments like the Rhino belt squat working with the Monster series. So all in all, for a home gym buyer, it's a bit about preference between Monster and Monster Lite. Personally, I would recommend to you look into the accessories you might want to get, and then decide on, based on which accessories you want to get, whether you go Rogue Monster or Monster Lite. Personally, I always recommend the Rogue RM3 out of the Monster series as a beginner home gym rack, because that can be upgraded. You're still somewhere in the middle of the budget between the 690C, the 690, the Rogue RM6 and the Rogue RM4. You still have enough space, and you know, you basically keep yourself open in all directions without shelling out too much money. But that is just my personal opinion. If you don't care about the product developments around Rogue, then go with the RML 690. Also not the color option, because then you get a 6-post and you get a really, really good rack, and you save as much money as possible by being practical for other stuff if a 6-post rack is what you want. So now that we've gone through the 690C, let's talk a bit of accessory that you can get with the Rogue RML 690C. I personally would say stay away from the trolley arms, even though they are tempting. I think getting another barbell and landmine attachment for roughly the same price as a trolley arm is the better option to do, because it is more versatile and it is also cheaper. Now, another thing to actually look at is storage pins, and I will get to that next. When you are filling the shopping cart at Rogue and you are going for a Rogue RML 690C, definitely don't forget to put storage pins in, because they don't come standard with the RML 690C. And if you are getting storage pins, get the long ones, don't get the short ones. And you will also only need 4. With 4 storage pins that I have here, and 2 of them are short, 2 of them are long, I can store up to about 250 kg in training plates, so thicker plates, not iron plates, on the rack itself. So when you are buying, I would recommend get 4 long storage pins for your rack, and then you will have plenty of space for your home gym to store any kind of plates on that you will be using. If you get iron plates, you might even get more than 250 kg to 500 kg on the rack with those 4 storage pins. If you get bumper plates, then it will be a little less. So this is also what I mean with, do you really need a 6-post rack? Because the money you save on not getting the 6-post rack but getting the 4-post rack instead can be put into these storage pins, for example, and also some collars, or maybe a few change plates like you see here, or fractional plates. This is all stuff that you will get way more use out of than just having this half-baked space in the back of the rack for a 6-post, unless you really know what you're gonna do and why you are getting that back space. Don't get it. Now, for commercial gyms it's a bit different. If you want to fully function one station that is also be easy to be cleaned for COVID purposes, then I do recommend the place and space in the back of the rack, because then you can just for one user put all of the kettlebells, dumbbells, plates, all of that on one station, even some bands and whatever they want to use for their workout. Then you just instruct them when they're finished to throw it all in the back of the rack, and then one of your staff comes, cleans the whole thing over, and then the next person can go. But that is a commercial use, not a home gym use. In a home gym use, it doesn't matter, so stick to the 4 posts. That's what I think. Last thing to talk about are safeties. Now for safeties, I would always recommend the pin and pipe over the safety straps, with a few exceptions, because the pin and pipe system is better for rack pulls or for pin presses, for pin squats and the like. I personally feel like that with straps it doesn't work that well, because the straps just do behave a little bit unpredictable because they're sagging. For safety purposes, the safety straps work just as well as pin and pipe system. Also, safety straps might be better if you can't feed the pin and pipe system from the front, but because you have space limitations within your home gym. But generally speaking, the safety straps are easier to set up the wrong way, and also they just don't work with as many special training variations as well, for my liking, as the pin and pipe systems. Unfortunately for the Rogue Monster Lite series, the flip down safeties that I have for the RM4 are not available, so stick with the pin and pipe. Last thing about safeties are spotter arms. If you ever intend to buy spotter arms, please don't do it. Now, why am I saying that? Spotter arms are usually set up incorrectly, too low or too high, and also they are the only piece of safety equipment that I ever managed to break in my 10 years of lifting with rack pulls. Now, I have to admit the setup wasn't that smart. Let's put it that way. What I did was a bit stupid, but fact is that is the only piece of metal that I ever managed to break in a gym. And if you would ask anyone who is in engineering, they would also say, well, you know what, a spotter arm might not be the best idea in the world, because this is really where the leverages don't play in your favor, and it's most likely to break or tip the rack over if it's not bolted to the ground. Now, if set up correctly, yes, spotter arms also work, but it is more time and effort to set them up correctly, and it's actually more likely that you will miss them and have an accident. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and tell your friends about my channel, and if you have any questions, pop them in the comments section below. Have a nice day, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye!